The only one that they lost where they picked was Sky Temple, and that came down to the questionable boss choice that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, they were struggling the whole game as usual. Really, it's actually funny. Really in the last, like in this series specifically, the one game where they had control, they end up losing it. But either way, yeah, they had control, or they didn't have control for the early part of all Sky Temple. One risky boss call ended up costing them the game there and the series. So we'll see where they go here. Again, I do think Ragnaros will suddenly spike in value. It's obviously a trend that Team 8 has shown consistently, but I think that it will be almost first pick, first ban for either side.
Team 8 are considering Tychus as a ban. They banned him out versus B-Step last time, too. Tychus is kind of interesting in North America right now. As of the end,
he's banned in the first rotation. He's been first picked. He's been banned in the second one, and sometimes he's just not even paid attention to. Not even close, like for a whole teams. He legitimately is lost in his position of the draft. At least, like, this is what we're talking about, though, when forming the North American meta. And, like, that is why I say here, honestly, like, with less of a, I expect this direction because I don't know, and I honestly feel like I don't know if they even know directly where they're going until it's just like, oh, that's our pick. Well, we're going to move this way, I think.
This looks good with this.
Yeah.
That does that.
I've heard that these two heroes are pretty successful. That's fun. That one didn't work that well last time, so maybe we shouldn't do that. But I would ban Ragnaros. If I'm B-Step, I would just flat ban it. He's been dominant in every part of the world so far. We've seen it in HGC Europe. We're seeing it here in HGC North America. It's going to be one of the more dominant maps.
What about
ban on the
Medivh,
Medivh, and it's going to be a first pick. Ragnaros almost 100% here for Team 8. They'll just not pick it to prove me wrong. But
if they give Team 8 Ragnaros, maybe B-Step wants Tassadar. This leaves them up, right? These two strong heroes, Tassadar, the enabler, Ragnaros, the lane-pushing, stunning machine that he is, defense machine.
Is that what we're calling him?
Yeah, we'll work on the title. It's a work in progress.
Okay, well, now B-Step has to consider what direction, obviously, they want to be stepping into. I would think it's going to be more of a, Gul'dan step. If not, probably going to be traditional. What we see from them usually going to be more of like, picking up the Malfurion very, very early and then pairing it with whatever they really can. Most of the time it's with an objectively strong hero, which Tychus off the table could be a Vala.
Actually, B-Step did not play on Tomb yesterday, so we do not exactly know what their preferred heroes are on here because we have not seen them play since BlizzCon, with the exception of yesterday. Could be a Taz Vala. Could be Vala Ariel.
I like Taz Vala the most,
Me
or
too.
Ariel Gul'dan, but I feel like a Malfurion is going to be picked up, and that means I think it's going to be a Vala or it's going to be the warrior choice, which is going to be Artanis.
Our time has come.
Our time has come. All right, so the Artanis pickup, not nearly as pretty as some of the other maps. He doesn't complement too well. He does well in the solo lane, but doesn't do much for the map objective itself. Amateur opponent can kind of rip through web weavers, but I guess I don't pick him and be like, well, at least the web weavers are going to be dying quickly. Is it going to be a Gul'dan Diablo rotation for Team 8? They like their Gul'dan.
Yeah.
They like it here specifically. They love their Diablo as well. If I was to choose between the two, I'd take the Gul'dan, but something in me says Diablo is going to be a must-have in this rotation. And, all right.
I like where you're going. Yeah, I think it's going to be. It could be Taz Vala.
We're making adjustments here. I like that a bit more. Actually, a lot more. It's going to continue. But either way, no, I really the Taz Vala together, those are insane together, but they're insane even more on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Both can just obliterate a minion wave in a matter of seconds, make easy rotations. They deny the turn-ins, and they just complement each other in team fights.
So now do B-Step ban Ariel, so that they don't have Taz Vala Ariel and then pick up their support?
I would.
Diablo?
I would get rid of the Ariel. Ariel is scary in that trio. It's very difficult to deal with. They might also be concerned with just another, survivability hero like the Zarya, but I wouldn't, just because, again, Taz and Rag, it makes it to where it's a very unorthodox composition to move in that direction. What's up? You raised your finger, you did all shoop-de-whoop with it, and
I was like, oh, who's going to play what? But I think Glau's already going to be on Ragnaros. Taz Vala will be between Yoda and Prismat, Yoda being on Vala. So we're looking at Justing and Bud's left. I think it'll be Ariel. Or Justing's hero Diablo's good too.
All right, so the Diablo banned out does leave that trio that they could be fearful of. And then Gul'dan is the response here for Team 8 removed. So B-Step, we are yet to be able to see them on Tomb of the Spider Queen. Where do we think they'll go? I'm gonna say it. I'm not proud, but I feel like
Are you gonna say Murky? Don't say Murky.
No, I feel like Varian's just gonna come up here. I wasn't too sold on the performance that Varian had yesterday, and I just feel like so far the history of B-Step, when I don't really know where they're going, he just seems to find his way into the roster. It won't be here, I don't think, if they do pick it. I think it'll be their last. But overall, with the Ragnaros off the table, picking the Artanis, they've already got to be concerned heavily with their skirmishing because they do struggle in wave clear. Vol is removed. Gul'dan is removed. What do you do to compensate? Johanna, you never want in a multi-warrior. It's not impossible, but it's not your best rotation. So then what? Leoric? But again, when you have Leoric, you want a pairing warrior. Artanis is not that guy.
What about swaps into Entombs?
I mean, I guess you could. ETC and Greymane are the choice here for B-Step.
So we're waiting on support for them. That way they can flex to see what Team 8 is going to grab. Team 8, yeah, it makes sense that they're going to grab ETC here. I still think that B-Step have kind of been trying to limit Justing a little bit with a ban on Diablo, picking up ETC. Now what does Justing play? Looking at what he has played in the past. He's been around a long time, so he's got a good hero pool. Maybe Johanna. I think Johanna will probably be the pickup here. Helps with the wave clear too. Not that they necessarily need it.
Yeah, they're not in need of wave clear at all. I wouldn't hate it if they went that route. I think personally, I just love, again, the Ariel and a Murden. They're going to go with the Rhaegar instead. But, just some solid, kind of universal beefcake up there. And I really do feel like Murden would be the safer route. But it is going to be the Johanna for wave clear. So if they didn't have enough within Vala, Tacit, or Ragnaros, and they pick the they pick the best wave clear support and the best wave clear warrior on top of that. Right now, teammate very heavy on the macro game, which B-Step struggles against. And B-Step's composition is the exact opposite. Again, more focus on, if we do end up on same talent tiers, can we take the fight?
But I like that, though, from Team 8, specifically because if they do the whole double turn-in a row, we take down all of your forts, we just get this huge lead, they almost are just letting B-Step put themselves into the position they were in yesterday, where they basically put themselves in a spot where they have to make big plays to come back. They have to take a 5-man mosh. They have to get the money swap. They have to do something that is playmaking in some way, relying so much. It puts so much pressure on one person, and sometimes it worked out, but it didn't work out for them to win the series.
I wanted Jaina. I agree with you completely. The draft-wise right now on the side of Team 8, I adore everything that they've been able to do. It complements their playstyle, and the weakness, that was the last hero I wanted. I was going to note that. But, okay, so Sylvanas is going to be the lock-in, but yeah, you are right. It's Tomb of the Spider Queen. Focus on winning the wave clear department. It's one of the few maps you can legitimately almost ignore the team fight focus composition. And B-Step with that early rotation, Artanis shows that they are already maybe committing too many resources into that direction. So I do love it, but I was hoping for the Jaina because it would make up for a little bit of the wave clear. But then more than anything, if you don't win in wave clear, you always want to make up for it in kill potential. Always. We have the opportunity to put K1 Pro on a hero. It has an opportunity to be a follow-up to ETC, go in with the Blizzard, with the Power Slide combo. I just think that would have been better because when you lose on wave clear on Tomb of the Spider Queen, you have to kill somebody. And Jaina complements the wave clear and also gets a kill, even though it's in a not overly common hero.
Especially in the early game, too. Jaina's one of the better heroes that you could get for straight off the bat, level 1, having the potential to kill somebody and get those picks.
Yeah.
So we know what Team 8 needs to do. We know they're going to be playing the classic, almost Euro style of just running their lanes, allowing that to give you control over the turn-in points. Get the magical turn-in that gets you 10, that gets you another turn-in, that takes out all of the forts, pushes all of the lanes, and then the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
What is it that B-Step has to do now with their composition?
It's a very hard scenario. What I'd like to see is forfeit the first turn-in. And then look for stacking so much. So you forfeit the first turn in, soak as best as you can. You're going to probably be losing a little bit, probably fort in the first turn in. And then wait to stack a double. So look for the response and buy as much time as you can. Forfeit it over to your opponents. Make sure that you're even in experience. Then get your own turn in as a counter response. Double stack it. And then during one of those two, you have to force the engage because you are not winning the macro in the long run. If you get too much, happening for level 1 in the first turn in, on the opposite side with the amount of wave clear they they have, you are going to be in a bad spot. It's actually a weird balance of like if you focus on doing the map objective that early on, if you don't have your heroics, you're almost never going to get heavy kill potential with their comp, right? So you want to wait till you get your heroics before you get your first turn in. And that is probably going to be giving up a turn in early on. So it's like minimize your losses and then suddenly, just come out guns blazing. And that is what I want to see. Somehow I feel like it's going to be like, again, those small windows that we see like what Naventi was struggling with, and then the game falls out of control.
Well, we're ready for game number 3 on Tomb of the Spider Queen. B-Step and Teammate are tied 1-1. Let's see who takes the advantage in the series.
All right, so here, once again, game number 3, even series on the left side is going to be Team 8. And we have Buds playing the Rhaegar. Vala is going to be played by Glarong. Prismaticism is going to be playing Ragnaros. Justing on Johanna, and Yoda playing Tassadar.
And their opponents in the red, the members of B-Step. With APM playing Malfurion, Greymane played by McIntyre, King Caffeine on ETC, iDream playing Artanis, and K1 Pro playing Sylvanas.
All right, so the aggression here, the rotations to the mid lane, everybody's kind of going head-to-head. We'll see if they end up getting the brawl. If they do end up brawling, probably B-Step has a bit better of skirmishing, unless it lasts outside of the initial engage, because Tassadar is pretty good at negating that.
Ragnaros is already set up in the bottom lane, and Greymane has gone down to see this too. So Greymane and Artanis both in the bottom lane. It means that B-Step are one person down here in the mid, so they've got to play this carefully. They still had some damage, but again, knowing that they don't have maybe as much early game damage, they're just separating out to make sure they're in the lanes faster. They don't lose anybody, so they can start right away soaking up experience, trying to get gems for a turn-in.
K1 Pro is going to be, following the response. Again, B-Step here without the wave clear aggression. They're just going to be looking for picks, and it's all going to come down to probably Calf. Justing moves aggressive, good patience there on the Iron Skin. He waits it out. And it's just the wave clear battle here. It's a lot of what you're going to see in the early games of Tomb, especially with Teammate's kind of style of play, or at least what they've drafted in this game. I think you're just going to watch B-Step kind of chasing around Teammate, desperate to be able to get those skirmishes that they want. Unless a huge swap into route happens, I think that's the biggest window here for B-Step.
B-Step picked up a lot of talents at level 1 that are hopefully going to help them out, try to keep up with the wave clear of the members of Team 8. Amateur opponent was the grab at level 1 for Artanis, Overflowing Quiver for Sylvanas 2, and even Moonburn this time. So APM switching up his build for Malfurion to help out, make sure that they don't get pushed too hard on the lane front.
Yeah, and just such pretty rotations again. K1 Pro sadly is going to be stuck in this lane. This is hard to deal with and not fun to play against if you're B-Step. It's really the patience you need to have in these scenarios is rather large, and it seems like all 5 members from both teams is going to be collaborating here in the mid lane. But it turns out they're just going to cast a couple spells at each other, be like hello, and then proceed to return to their original lanes. We do see Rhaegar join Ragnaros in the bottom lane against the solo Greymane, but that means there's a disadvantage in the top lane, which they're going to get the punish. Very well done. iDream with the W dash and getting the swap, and that might force Justin to drop. That is the Iron Skin power slide is up. The minute that stops, there we go. It ends up going through. Can they confirm it? Sadly, not going to be the case, and K1 Pro is falling solo.
Buds jumps in too, so it pulled all of the members of B-Step and Teammate to the mid, but is that troubling?
Remember when I talked about having kill potential in your 4-man?
Damage
that
could not
you
take
just
down.
had
It was Johanna though, it was Johanna.
It was Johanna, but anybody else who does damage instantly is going to be a hero who's going to be able to do that. Sylvanas legitimately has W in all of her Qs, and the damage output of that is not that great. Greymane, though, if he was to join, would be a little bit more successful as he does the power slide, the root, and that is going to be a pickup here in First Blood now for B-Step.
It's the difference between Johanna and Vala. You can kill Vala much faster. But if B-Step are the ones who are concerned with late game, knowing that late game is where their strength lies, they have Lost Soul picked up for Sylvanas. Later on, they can get Cold Embrace. That takes down armor of the target that she throws her dagger on. Artanis will ramp up. Greymane, once he gets Incendiary Elixir, that whole thing finished, his damage can ramp up too. So in the late game, maybe that'll go for them there?
No, things get a lot prettier as the game moves on. The problem is again, it's Tomb of the Spider Queen. We have to be considering the first couple of levels and how things play out, and especially when you struggle in wave clear like B-Step does. So it's not that there isn't a hope if the game is on even footing. The problem is a lot of the times when you don't have wave clear and you have against teammate and their wave clear, I mean, Europe put it on best, I think, really when it comes to what that can look like. And it's usually 3 levels down in probably a keep.
All right, teams splitting out in the lanes, just trying to get as many gems as they can. Both have enough for a turn-in. Red Web Weavers will go down first. So B-Step with a very early turn-in, but I wonder if maybe they're just trying to get this so they can use Sylvanas and get ahead enough in this early game that whatever happens in the mid game, until they have that swing in damage, it'll hold out.
That's exactly it. And because of that, though, and using these 50 gems that early, they need value out of the Sylvanas. You can't just be like, well, that would be ideal. There is an absolute must to be able to open up this map a little bit and force a struggle on the side of teammate. Good stun there. The body block onto Justin. He's not going to be able to make it out there. He condemns in and barely gets the wrap around to keep him alive. Very well done, as that would have been 30 gems going over to B-Step. But you put it exactly what they're looking to do here. They need that value out of the Sylvanas this early on. Otherwise, this team fight focus and skirmish is going to really hurt them.
The swap went the other way from getting Johanna back, but again, it's Johanna. She's so hard to take down. At least they put good damage onto her. And with the Web Weavers in the bottom, it's almost done. B-Step hoped maybe they could bring turn off the fort and take it out. But with Ragnaros taking over Molten Core, they'll have to say goodbye to any further pressure with their Web Weavers. Yeah,
and when it comes to the questing talents that we have here for McIntyre, he's still not even 50% of the way to be able to secure that bonus damage onto his blast. And that is, again, the scaling that you were referencing towards that this composition might be able to have. And you always got the Artanis swap factor coming in, right? But we do see the turn-in response is going to be available for Team 8. K1 Pro is going to be able to secure these Knights, help slow down the middle Web Weaver. But Team 8 really needs to make something happen here with their turn-in. Their composition was focused on snowballing this game out of control for B-Step, and this is the first place to make that happen.
Glaurung Justing up in the top. Ragnaros could almost solo push somewhere, but Artanis got a better setup on the bottom Web Weaver, and with amateur opponent should make short work of the Web Weaver. In the top, the rest of the members of Team 8 starting to work down some of these towers along with the Web Weaver. The response from B-Step is good, though. They are responding to wherever Team 8 is. They're trying to save whatever structures they can, knowing that they just need to buy some time until they'll have their own heroic abilities and maybe get a second turn in.
This is the dream if you're a B-Step. Mid, top, and bottom have all been deleted on the side of Team 8, and you're up in experience. You got more out of it. That was what I was talking about with the Sylvanas, that they need to make sure they gain the value. They got far more, and now Team 8 has used all those gems. Yes, they almost have enough for a secondary turn in, same with the side of B-Step, but their composition was far more focused on how do we win the late game, or the early game, not the late game, whereas vice versa for B-Step. So they are in a pretty spot, and those gems that all just disappeared really hurt Team 8.
In the clutch of the Spider Queen. I wonder, though, Ragnaros, he started to come up to the top to help with the rest of the team and push there, and then went back down. In that time, Artanis had put a lot of damage onto the Web Weaver, so it was less damage that he could do. Then he got caught out by a rotation from B-Step, giving B-Step heroic abilities first now and Web Weaver. So this is going well for B-Step for sure.
Oh, it's pretty much the dream, to be honest. The draft such a composition versus the Johanna Volatacidar, and being ahead this early on and now having a secondary turn-in coming in, all I'm looking to do now is I would just be buying time, not let them abuse their wave clear. I'd be like, all right, we're going to take the fight what our comp excels at, and we're going to make sure that these other Web Weavers, you know, they get babied in purely on the fact that I know you cannot take me in a skirmish for Team 8, and it looks like they're going to do that, and the choice is through top lane.
Have to point out Purifier Beam for Artanis instead of Suppression Pulse. The first time we've seen this in HGC so far. The source of pushing will be in the top lane. King Caffeine jumps into, gets stopped out of Mosh Pit. That'll be a backup in a few seconds.
Yeah, and it's doing, teammates doing a really good job again. Look how much damage they can put at a pretty safe area. It's a good swap onto Glaurung. The power slide is going to come up there. Good cleanse, stopping not only the root, but also the power slide. Buds there, keeping Glaurung up. And the rotation from Ragnaros here at Prismaticism looked like they wanted to aggress on to B-Step, but they're going to be on the retreat. So that was a nightmare worth of a turn-in if you're in B-Step's position. It was looking so pretty until they didn't get anything out of that.
Purifier Beam is on Justing, but ETC just stops in his tracks and is destroyed. And the Purifier Beam can chase Justing all he wants, but It's Johanna. She's going to be fine. All of B-Step have been pushed back. Only mid for went down. B-Step went so long in the top lane. Ragnaros clearing out bot and then mid. That's what teammate needed. They are right back into this. They're tied up in experience. They're the ones who have the gems for a turn-in, and B-Step can only just keep trying to delay, which they are set up in a position to do so. It's just whether or not they can.
Yeah, teammate now kind of pulling the game back into their control. Very well done. B-Step has to be effective with their turn-ins, just again, because the control that they do not possess in their hands. Teammate now, if they manage to get this turn-in, I hope to see them get more than we had seen out of the first one. That kind of hesitation that they have, I feel that their comp is far more terrifying than they give themselves credit for. And we'll see if they push towards that, as 13 is being achieved here for B-Step in a matter of seconds for teammate as well.
What do you think of the Purifier Beam?
I don't like it. I only like it in situations where you either have a support that has two targets they have to be overly concerned about, or where you have a target that's just so low in health naturally and they want to stand still, like kind of like in Chromie, rare Chromie scenarios where she's like, she wants to stand still and cast, but if she does that, she eats quarter of her health pool. Whereas Vala's going to have Tacit shields all day. Rhaegar has pretty easy healing out there for everybody else. So. But the blind wouldn't get that much value. It would get some. I don't know if I agree with the choice here so far on the Purifier Beam, though. Big
swap on Glaurung. Cleanse used pretty early on, but it gets Glaurung back into position with the team. Force Wall hits King Caffeine, who goes right back into the fight. Remember, Mosh Pit is here. Teammate has to remember that too. Needs to make sure they don't get too clumped up.
The channel here started by Yoda. He should be able to get that in as Cap and friends from B-Step are trying to stop that. There's another swap onto Prismaticism, but Ragnaros is not really the easiest kill target, especially post 13. But that is going to be the two-man Mosh. The Wailing Arrow was actually cleansed. Twilight Dream comes in, only hits one, but already go for throw, getting the proc onto Glaurung. The response skill there, Ragnaros ends up going down, and suddenly B-Step here just turns it up.
Ancestral Healing wasn't able to hit in time, but the next one to fall, B-Step gets 3 kills for nothing, using a lot of their heroic abilities along the way. Twilight Dream, Mosh Pit was great. Cleanse on Mosh Pit was good too. And with the Sylvanas and this brief period of time with no Rhaegar or Ragnaros, Sylvanas coming in handy for B-Step so that they can take down the first keep of the game.
Yeah, the pre-cleanse to be able to ensure that Mosh gains value is very, very well done here. And that got them a keep with that Sylvanas pickup here. Cap, though, is going to get caught out. How many are they going to lose is the question now at hand. McIntyre is going to be next to fall. Purifier Beam used as iDream is going to be dreaming he wasn't on that side of the map in a matter of moments, but they give up on that, seeming like they're going to put more concern towards the turn-in in a boss play. This is very risky. Vala is going to be able to get the start, but B-Step is not even concerned. I just feel like the health bars or the death timers are so low, the amount of poke that they could have put out onto teammate there would have been too much, but instead they're going to say, we got Sylvanas, we'll get bottom forward instead. Not a bad trade, because it's not like that boss is going to be anything really too concerning, especially with 16 talent here.
Exactly, 16 talent here, Fort's still there. It would have been even riskier, potentially leading into more staggered death timers of B-Step. Heroic abilities were down. It just wasn't the best case for them to even have the dream defense of not having everybody. Now B-Step can regroup, go back, defend at Fort, hopefully not, or defend at keep, hopefully not lose that keep. But with 16, they could look to try to start a fight even behind the boss once they get that tier.
The biggest struggle here for teammate is the fact that top lane is the only web weaver that's really going to net any game for them. And they need that 16 talents here. I expect Cap to try and move past them and force this fight before they're able to pick up the 16. But we'll find out. Power Slide was used, and since it didn't hit anybody, teammate's going to proceed to move up here. If this keep falls, that is going to be 16 talents here. Oh, just barely out of range, actually. And the force on the swap is going to happen, Gilly.
Swap happened on a Prismaticism. Uses his Blast Wave to get back. Power Slide into Mosh Pit. Again, a pre-cleanse to keep it going. Twilight Dream in the back. Ragnaros drops. Purifier Beam helped to pick up that kill. Glaurung gets hit with an Ancestral Healing. Justing's way in the back, just trying to buy time for his team. 2 kills so far, and B-Step continues the flank. Oh, nice Force Wall to stop that. K1 Pro uses Haunting Wave to go back in. Tassadar now the only person maybe that B-Step could get another kill on. Does he have Prescience up?
I think he does. There's going to be a hit. Force Wall's off cooldown. He just got it interrupted, I think. Nope, not. Very well done, Cap, with Sylvanas going to be able to disable this, and they're going to move up. This should be another keep wall going down, possibly a keep. I don't think they have enough time for that, but there's really nothing else for B-Step to be able to do here other than infuse that beautiful passive that Sylvanas has there.
They're going to break the wall and do the exact same thing they did before, maybe?
We do see Ragnaros is actually going to use the Molten Core. That's a huge cooldown to have burnt now, considering the fact that B-Step is nearing the ability to have a complete turn-in. That's going to be a cooldown they wish they had in a matter of moments here. As long as bottom gets babied on the side of B-Step, somebody go down there, give it a quick clear, concentrating onto the turn-ins. And if they can do that before that comes off cooldown, that's going to be another keep with Sylv.
It would have been nice to take out top keep to mitigate any catapult pressure there for B-Step. But getting a turn-in would be very nice too. K1 Pro has those final 9 gems. King Caffeine being a ward. iDream in trouble. APM cleanses to keep him safe. And now Webweaver's descending for the red side.
Yeah, and the bottom lane here sadly is not going to be cleared quick enough, I don't believe. Actually, it will. It will at least meet halfway. I can't help but feel like B-Step had the time to really, make sure that all the Webweavers were kind of passing over 50% of the map here. Teammate tried to force something, but it wasn't near enough. Either way, though, B-Step has a lot of things going for them right now, as for the first time, Teammate seems like they're the ones who are like questioning, hey, maybe we should try and initiate on them instead of letting iDream do these pretty swaps.
Well, he's trying for another one of those pretty swaps. Hits 2. Glaurung takes half of his health bar and damage, but B-Step is the problem. Goes down even before Sulfura Smash hits. Ancestral Healing just in time to keep Prismaticism alive from Purifier Beam. And with iDream down for 46 seconds, this is a disastrous turn-in for B-Step.
Yeah, B-Step just wants to try and keep them busy, though, so there's not a free clear on these Webweavers that do remain. Top has already been removed. Bottom is just now going to be attended to. And B-Step really just, the overextension there on iDream looking for that play is really going to, waste those 60 gems that they had turned in right before this. And not something they necessarily can let happen too easily. Luckily, with the Sylvanas pickup, they're kind of, forgiven the lack of wave clear that they have in their composition. They always have the opportunity, if we win the fight, we could look for lethal. But they gotta get this cleanup here on a couple of those initiations here if they're gonna be able to pull out a win, because we're still tied in this series, no matter how convincing at times it may be for one team or another.
But the late game damage is definitely in full effect for B-Step. Executioner was the pickup for McIntyre on Greymane, and he has Incendiary Elixir finished. Psionic Wound plus Cold Embrace is 2 different ways to add vulnerability, reduce armor from somebody. So even adjusting as Johanna could be problematic if she starts to get her health bar low. iDream ever looking for a swap for his team.
Yeah, Wailing Arrow is going to be coming up here in 9 seconds. The rest of the heroics are available, minus Ancestral Healing up in 15. Nobody has the turn-in. Boss is not up, and those are the 2 win conditions onto this map other than a beautiful wipe. So you can see the teams kind of, just slowly gathering the gems. A teammate really wants to get rid of that middle 4. It's such a crutch to be able to have if you're B-Step, because it's close to both the turn-ins and it's an easy retreat route. Anytime they get in a skirmish that might look a little too ugly, just back out to your middle 4. You're going to be fine. That is not something that teammate has if, things get ugly too fast.
Especially right now where B-Step just want to get to 20. They know teammate are looking for a fight, but as long as they don't allow it, B-Step soon will have 20-tier advantage, and that's even further amount of time where a teammate are starting to get to the point where they could get a turn-in. Their gems are starting to get up there, and if they can't be on the same talent tier, then that's just more time that B-Step can start looking maybe at the boss instead.
Is it too soon to say, well, B-Step could just get 20 and feign the boss and look for a fight?
No, I don't think so at all. And 20's here. They might not even need to feign for the boss if teammate can't get out of here.
Yeah, teammate now on full retreat. The Giants are pressuring out, and somebody on B-Step's probably going to be looking to get clear. When it comes to the turn-in, though, teammate is still, it's pretty even, actually, and the control. So the boss bait is going to be real. They're going to try.
They're showing.
By the way, that was a bad joke to yesterday. That was what I was flipping. Is it too soon to say bait the boss at 20? Because last time this happened, they completely lost the game off that decision.
You're not wrong, but teammate doesn't have 20 yet. It is a long way away, and B-Step will pick up a boss now to march toward another keep for teammates.
Yeah, Caffeine's actually pulling, he was questioning if they were going to be backdooring to the keep on bottom there for a moment. This is a potential for lethal, especially with Sylvanas. Yeah, they haven't shown anybody on the map, so they're just feigning the channels there on the backs. And now, once they see their opponents, they're going to be good to pick off this fight. Ragnar's using the multi-core, going to be taking up the keep. But once he goes down, if they manage to get rid of him quick, Sylvanas should be able to ensure the rest of this keep.
Watch for a swap. Molten Core is almost done. iDream starting to get into a position to look for it. Justing's not the prime target for that. So iDream's going to jump forward with Blade Dash, just looking to see if anybody is in a good position for them to be able to swap into the base.
Wow, I'm impressed with how well the defensiveness there, or defense out of Prismaticism was there to be able to deter that. And then Giants on bottom almost gain equal value as to what Sylvanas and that boss did up on the top half of this map. Now full retreat here for B-Step. The turn-in is not in reach yet for either one of the teams. B-Step now trying to get the free channel. We'll see if Dream gets a swap. Just going to go for the Raz.
21 turned in for Team 8, 24 for B-Step. This next turn-in very likely will be the end. Huge swap on Prismaticism, and King Caffeine's in a perfect position to body block him from getting back to the team. But Ancestral Healing comes on just as the Purifier Beam does too. Torbos hits a bunch of people on Team 8, but he, ETC, is the one to drop first. iDream goes too. Roots just to bail out the rest of B-Step.
This is going to be Webweaver's bottom and top keep are already dead as well. Middle lane is the only one that really is going to be a struggle for for Team 8. But that is a huge swing. That team fight just went everything against B-Step. Very well done on the side of Team 8. And now they're going to be opening up the map, getting that split pressure with top Webweaver and onto bottom. And they may even have no hesitation threatening towards the core. I'm pretty sure this is going to be pretty easy. But there is a small moment where they might be able to get punished as long as Glorong ends up going down or Buds. Those are the two targets you're looking for if you are B-Step.
Heroic Difficulty was the choice of pickup at level 20. That's more damage and health for Prismaticism as the Molten Core. Already the core is at 50% and falling. B-Step just trying to bring down somebody, take out one of the members of Team 8, but they can't do it. And with a great team fight, Team 8 makes sure to secure the victory on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And I want to highlight Buds because there was one Ancestral that didn't connect in time, but otherwise the swap was always on Prismaticism, and he was able to keep him alive through the Purifier Beam, everything else,